As tensions between the U.S. and Venezuela keep rising, President Trump says he's made up his mind regarding the next steps he'll take. Venezuela's socialist leader, Nicolas Maduro, is now preparing for possible armed conflict with the U.S. NTD's international correspondent, Arian Pazdar, is standing by live in Latin America. Arian, good to see you. What exactly did Trump say, and how is Venezuela preparing for possible confrontation with the U.S.?
Hey, Steph, good to see you too. Thank you for having me. Yeah, those are great questions. But first, let me give our viewers a recap of what's been happening off the coast of Venezuela. So the US military started attacking small boats, which it says are trafficking illegal narcotics from Venezuela to the United States. Now, according to the Trump administration, those boats, the drugs on those boats, they could potentially kill hundreds of thousands of Americans if the drugs reach the United States. Now, separately, earlier this month, President Trump ordered an aircraft carrier strike group to the Latin America region. This now brings the total number of US soldiers in the region to 12,000. And on top of that, there's also almost 100 American fighter jets in the region. Now, because of those developments, some people say they think that the US is preparing for military intervention in Venezuela to overthrow socialist leader Nicolas Maduro. President Trump actually just on Friday was asked about that and about his plans, about his next steps regarding Venezuela. Let's take a look at what President Trump said.
I sort of have made up my mind, yeah. I mean, I can't tell you what it would be, but I sort of made up my mind.
What do you say to some of your supporters who might not be excited about another foreign campaign?
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, I can't tell you what it is, but we made a lot of progress with Venezuela in terms of stopping drugs from pouring in. But we have a Mexico problem. We have a Colombia problem, meaning Colombia, the country. We're doing very well. Drugs coming into our country are greatly slowed, as you can imagine.
Now, Steph, I just want to add real quick that the tensions between the United States and Venezuela, they didn't just start under President Trump. Actually, when Trump returned to office in January, the US already had a bounty on Maduro. Steph?
Right, Arian. And how is Venezuela responding? I mean, the country now has U.S. military presence off its coast. And as you mentioned, there's a bounty on Maduro. I'd imagine he's concerned about these latest developments.
Oh, yes, Steph, I would say so for sure. It does seem like he is concerned indeed. Just on Friday, Maduro requested international aid for Venezuela to help stop the growing U.S. influence, the U.S. military presence in the Caribbean. Maduro says the U.S. is trying to start a war in the region. Now, Washington, of course, says that it's just trying to stop the boats of those narco traffickers. And besides Maduro's appeal for aid, he's now also actively preparing for direct conflict with the United States. Just this week, Maduro signed into law a new national defense framework. He's uniting Venezuela's civilian and military forces. And he's calling on his people, on the people of Venezuela. Maduro is saying that they should, quote, prepare for armed struggle to defend Venezuela and its sovereignty. And he's also preparing a national military police exercise soon. Let's now listen to Maduro and what he said while signing this new law earlier this week. Let's take a look.
If we, as a republic, as a people, must go to armed struggle to defend this sacred heritage of the liberators, we must be ready to win, to triumph through the path of patriotism and courage. So, I proceed to sign and execute the law.
Now, I just want to add here real quick, Steph, that it's widely believed that Maduro wasn't actually re-elected as the president and that he cheated during last year's presidential elections. That's what a lot of Venezuelan citizens think. And that's also what the United States and other European nations came to the conclusion to after official investigations. They concluded that Maduro did indeed cheat. I mean, just ask any Venezuelan citizen you might know. Chances are, I mean, not of course, but chances are that they want Maduro to go. So my point in this, the point I'm trying to make is that most Venezuelan citizens, from what I've seen, are not actually standing behind Maduro in this whole back and forth with the United States. Steph?
And Arian, in other Latin American news, I heard over 100 police officers are injured in Mexico after protests yesterday.
That's right, Steph. So what happened is that a group called Generation Z, they took to Mexico's National Palace for an anti-violence protest. This came after earlier this month, an anti-violence mayor was killed in broad daylight during an event. This might have been done by the cartel. The cartel in Mexico is, after all, responsible for much of the violence, which is partly what Generation Z was trying to protest, right? The cartel violence. But now what happens, Steph, is that Mexico's opposition, they saw this protest happening and they kind of used it. They then invited their own supporters. They invited anti-government protesters. They invited opposition supporters to join the anti-violence protest and kind of take over. So after some time, this whole anti-violence protest developed into an anti-government protest, which was also against Mexico's president, Claudia Sheinbaum. So according to Mexico's government, the situation then escalated and 120 people are now injured. And 100 of those, as you said, yes, were police officers. Reportedly, 40 of them had to be hospitalized. Let's now listen to President Claudia Sheinbaum and what she had to say about these protests. Let's take a look.
There was a demonstration in Mexico City where they say that young people were marching, but in reality there were very few young people, and in violent manner they pulled down some fences and broke windows. We say no to violence. If you have a disagreement, you have to demonstrate in a peaceful way.
Also, the police, of course, did take action against some of those violent protesters. According to officials, 20 people had to be arrested. Steph?
Many updates, and great to have you out there on the ground with those updates for us. Arian Pazdar, thank you so much.